Hi there! Have you ever wanted to experience a loss of basic bodily ability, personality and mood changes, and a possibility of irreversible damage to a whole bodily system? Have you ever desired a possibly higher chance of developing Parkinson's disease? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, you may want to consider experiencing a traumatic brain injury. You may be asking yourself, what is a traumatic brain injury? And I'm glad you've asked. A traumatic brain injury is defined by traumaticbraininjury.com as any brain injury resulting in 6 or more hours of unconsciousness. This is opposed to a moderate brain injury that lasts between 20 minutes and 6 hours of unconsciousness. These both can result in short and long-term symptoms and damage the brain. Traumatic brain injuries can result from a variety of different causes. Some causes of this condition include hard blows to the head, multiple high-level concussions, sports injuries, car accidents, sudden acceleration or deacceleration, and skull fractures, according to a 2015 article on brainline.org. The general effects of traumatic brain injuries revolve around the idea that the brain is in one way or another unable to communicate with other parts of the brain. This can be due to damaged tissue or a physical block somewhere in the brain. Think of it like an out-of-commission satellite dish that is unable to transport information from one place to another. So what else can you get from a traumatic brain injury? Let's go to our specialist, Valerie, for internal and external symptoms.
Traumatic brain injuries are complex and can result in many different types of damage to the brain. Diffusal onyx injury is the first of 3 common ways in which the brain can be damaged or affected. According to brainline.org, this is when bundles of onyx in the brain's white matter are broken, torn, or stretched in a way that prevents different globes and regions in the brain from communication with others. Secondly, also from brainline.org, are hemoatoms. Blood can pool in the brain due to damaged vessels, and this pooling can occur between the skull and the brain tissue, in which is center and outside of the brain, and in the middle of the brain, called epidural, subdural, and lastly, from our trusty source of brainline.org, are contusions. Bruising or swelling of the brain affects blood flow from the blood as blood vessels bleed freely into the brain's matter. So traumatic brain injuries can happen just about anywhere in the brain. But how are you really affected by TBIs? What do you really get out of this condition? A lot of things. Your conjunctivity, sensory, your language, and emotional abilities can all be affected, resulting in things like problems concentrating, impulse control, amnesia, difficulty reading, vision and hearing loss, loss of specific awareness, chronic pain, depression, menstrual diffusion difficulties, and many more. To learn about why traumatic brain injuries are so bad, let's go to Karen.
One of the biggest reasons traumatic brain injuries are such a big deal is that the brain cannot easily heal itself. The brain and central nervous system are highly sensitive, and as such, the human body has developed many methods of protecting it to maintain this careful balance. According to the Scientific American Mind, there is a protein called NOGO that grows in the brain and around the central nervous system to restrain nerve cell growth, specifically in the axons of these cells. The presence of this protein restricts the regrowth and reconnection of cells with other neurons to fix the damage of traumatic brain injuries. One problem related to this protein and the issue of regrowth is that the body tries to protect itself. Inflammation, scar tissue, and the presence of bodily fluids around the injury all are to protect the body from further damage in this area, but again, these defense mechanisms prevent regrowth and real healing from injuries like TBIs. One of the other reasons that the brain has trouble healing itself, like other parts of the body, is that producing new brain cells takes a lot of time. Neurogenesis is the process in which the brain produces new neurons. Neural stem cells must split into either a support cell or a neuron, according to the 2003 edition of the Scientific American. Then, they must successfully migrate to different parts of the brain away from the other stem cells. If they make the brain without dying, then they will spend about a month maturing into a functioning neuron. This is why the brain has trouble healing itself. Making new cells and repairing the old ones are long, hard processes that are inhibited in multiple ways. But are there any developments that could help with this problem? Let's go to Gabe to find out.
Thanks, Karen. Some connections are definitely being made about how to address and potentially treat traumatic brain injuries. According to the scientific mind, there is an antibody that has been found to bind to NOGO to prevent it from inhibiting the regrowth of axons. Additionally, the reproduction of a recently identified gene could inhibit NOGO from attaching to axons and therefore inhibiting the repair of those axons. Additionally, an enzyme that has recently been identified in the body can help the body extend nerve axons and tissues through scar tissue to remake the connections that have been broken. While an article from UCLA's Mark Wheeler has shown that traumatic brain injuries can result in the loss of specific type of neuron related to motor skills associated with Parkinson's disease, there may still be hope for slowing or preventing the disease according to the Scientific American Mind. The same research that the inhibition of NOGO can help reconnect parts of the brain and the spine also suggests that it can be beneficial in treating or slowing symptoms of Parkinson's disease. If you're not interested in destroying pathways through the brain, affecting your everyday life from how strong your senses are to your ability to perform everyday tasks or increase your chances to develop Parkinson's disease, avoid traumatic brain injuries. How? Avoid high-contact sports, drive safely, and be aware of your surroundings and health to avoid small accidents which can accumulate into traumatic brain injuries. Give us a call if you're interested.